Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is our third week of Good Fruit Investors since we've had our show. And today I've got my wife, Carrie, here. She's going to be sharing her thoughts on what she thinks of when it comes to handling risk. All right, so we've been married now for 4 years. And we've had to talk about a lot of things when it comes to investments and how to handle money. And I believe that we had maybe a little bit of a different perspective when it came to investments when we were first married. and when it comes to risk, right? So maybe for the viewers, if you don't mind just sharing just some of your thoughts on handling risk, you can go into your past or the present, whatever you feel, just to explain what is your process on handling risk, and maybe talk about like what levels of risk you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Well, for starters, I would say I'm a fairly risk-averse person. So when it comes to finances, growing up, the conversation was always just about, making money, saving money, and I just continued that into adulthood, and I wanted to see the money in my hand, see the money go in the bank, like very tangible, right?
Yeah, have that money right there.
Have the money right there. And
you know you have it. You can see it. You can identify with it.
It's real. Like I can use this money to pay for this, right? So the thought of investing that money and not knowing whether it would be there for me to access it was not something that I was really comfortable with. So I didn't start investing until, I was well into my 20s. And basically the bank that I was with said, hey, you have this sum of money, you should really think about investing it. And that was the first time I was approached, and I was like, no thanks, bye. So I just let it hang out there. And then I realized, I really do need to be investing in some way. So, and maybe some of you can relate to this, I sat down with a financial advisor and I filled out a survey to see what my risk, my comfortable risk level would be, right?
Okay.
And basically I was like the lowest level of risk of what I was comfortable with. I just wanted to see my finances steadily increase. I wasn't looking for a crazy jump, but I wanted to see it steadily increase over time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the pocket where I lived for the longest period of time.
Right.
So do you want me to talk about kind of where we were at when we were first married? And
you can talk about
about
it. Sure, go for it.
Well, obviously Aaron had more experience in investing than I did. And whenever he would talk to me about a new subject in investing, for example, even like cryptocurrency, I was like, is that even real? Am I going to be able to see that money? Can I take that money and go buy something with it? I had a really hard time with it, and maybe that's really old school thinking, but I think maybe some of you can relate to that. I don't know. But so every time there was something new, it was uncomfortable for me. So I'm the kind of person that in order to take a risk, I want to be well educated about the pros, the cons, the possible pitfalls. So education is something that really makes me tolerate risk a lot more because I know what I'm getting into. It's not like this nebulous territory. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Carrie, for sharing your thoughts on this. And for those of you that are watching, it's very healthy for two people that are married to have those dialogues when it comes to finances. Yeah. And just like going back, I remember when we both had conversations about finances, there were times where Carrie was like, look, I don't want to get involved in it. I don't understand some of the things that you're doing. And I said, I still want to include you in all of those decisions. And so even if I can't give you all of the knowledge on all of the books and the different things that I've read, I just want you to understand at least the risk rate and understand where we're positioned, and so that we come into that alignment when it comes to that. Because the last thing you want is to have, a loved one or somebody that's entrusting you with those resources for the household, and then they're not in agreement with you, and they were shocked because they didn't know what the risk could entail. And so when we sat down and had conversations, I said, here's a strategy, here's what the back tests show, here's what I'm willing to risk. These are the potential pitfalls of when the economy moves in a direction. These are the things that will be bound to happen in this particular strategy. And this is the lifespan that we need to be looking at this investment for. So there's some investments where you have to look at them a little bit longer, and others where you look a little shorter. And so we actually had to sit down and have that dialogue, even though we didn't have the same understanding. And now, Carrie's going to be coming along into the various courses that we have at Good Fruit Investors. She's really keen on learning it because she wants to be able to understand the same kinds of things and even have maybe a little bit more dialogue on those particular strategies.
For sure. And I love what you said there, Aaron, about being on the same page with somebody. And then it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the same experience or education, but just understanding what's going on, what the level of risk is, because that was really important to me and important to us, that it's a together thing. It's a conversation. This is our money together. We want to see it grow. And then we get to celebrate together, right?
Yeah.
And also understanding that sometimes there's going to be maybe some loss, and we would be okay with that, but celebrate when there's going to be some wins. So I just wanted to add one more thing, is that I think when it comes to understanding risk when it comes to investment, I think knowing what your baseline understanding of the stock market is. So for me, my exposure was the stock market is all risk. Like whatever you put in there, just kiss it goodbye.
Right.
That was my understanding.
Yeah, I do remember a few discussions. Okay.
Yeah. And really, there's a little bit of truth in the sense that now I understand, when you are going to put something in an investment, you have to be comfortable with a little bit of risk. That
That's
there
right.
may be, over time, ebbs and flows.
Yes.
But when we are both sitting in a position of, hey, we're not going to take huge risks, because we don't want to lose what we've worked hard for. We want to see it steadily increase over time, then we're okay waiting for that.
Yeah.
So, but I think understanding kind of where you're coming from helps.
Yeah.
And then being able to have that conversation together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to working with you guys as well, too, and just giving you more content here on Good Fruit Investors.